Well, hello there and welcome to the candy wallpapered upstairs hallway of the dollhouse for another reading from The Secret Language of Birthdays by Gary Goldschneider and Joost Elfers for November 18th, the day of temperament. And here at the top of the page is a visual representation of the day of temperament. We have us an image of, can you guess it? I'll bet you can. Boom, it's a squid or an octopus in there squirting some ink. Let's see if I can get out of the page. There it is. Boom. Could be a he or a she, not quite sure. You can't really tell gender on the old octopi or the squids there based on the picture or in general. I'm not a marine biologist, but not altogether important there about the visual representational image. Maybe we can make some connotations as we get on with the read, why they might have chosen that. But in any event, like I said, not altogether all too important. What is important is it's November 18th, and therefore it's someone's birthday. So if it's your birthday today, I just want to say happy birthday. That's what's important, saying happy birthday to you. But if this finds you late, I don't know, days, weeks, months, sometimes people aren't, searching for their birthday on the internet on the day. Well, if that's the case, I just want to say I hope you had a happy birthday. But for everybody else who's joining us randomly, or more ideally to celebrate the November 18th birthday, I just want to say hello, welcome, and I hope you enjoy yourself. That's right. Now, before we dive in with the birthday redirect, let's roll some dice. This is the DykASSt A Birthday broadcast, so I like to live up to the namesake around these here parts by rolling some dice, if that wasn't apparent. But I do so more importantly for synchronicity's sake. And here I rolled a 3 and a 5, 4 and 8. Now, what is synchronicity? You're more than likely wondering. It's just you getting out in the world and letting the universe show you it's with you on your path. And you do that by setting a benchmark or a sign, if you like, a mutually agreed upon a sign or a number, if you like, so that you can get out there in the world and look for something the universe can use to communicate with you, show you where to go. That's right. Sometimes, we miss a lot of things in life that are just right in front of our face because we're so focused on getting where we need to go. But hey, you know what? This is a perfect opportunity to expand your horizons. Get out there and see what you might otherwise not see, with the added benefit of asking the universe to get out there with you. So you get your numbers figured out, and it's probably advisable you take your own set of dice, regardless of whether you go with the number I've rolled for you or not. So you can set directional values, the number sets, and time limits with which to go in those directions. But as you're going, stay eagle-eyed for your numbers there. You have 5 and your 3. And, when you get to the end of your time limit there, stop, compose yourself. Look around. Maybe you see something with a 5 and a 3 on it, like a bus comes by, 5 and a 3. It just rolls right past you. You're like, oh, well, maybe I was supposed to get on that thing. Not today. That's every other day I've done a bus analogy there. No, roll your dice for a time limit. See how long to go in that direction of that bus. Who's to say maybe it pulls you up in front of a building with a 35 in the address. That's right. Hey, maybe it just so happens to turn out to be a pet shop and they focus on marine animals. Oh, can you see where this is going? Well, you go up there. Hey, it's locked. Hey, they're closed today. This doesn't seem very synchronous. Well, you know what? Maybe we could have seen us an octopus or a squid. Get him, knock on the glass, get him to squirt some ink. Who's to say? But it just didn't happen that way. But then you turn around and, oh, boom. There's somebody just now arriving at work. Oh, you beat them to the punch. And you know what? They're like, what are you doing here? You're like, I was just following the synchrony walk here. And they're like, a what? Maybe you show them this video. Make them late to work if you like. And they're like, well, we're not open today, but I just had to come back and get my iPhone on the counter there. You know what? They open the door for you. They let you go through. They show you all the squid. They show you the trick to make them ink. And you know what? It just fell into place, didn't it? Yeah, that's what I'm saying there. It's just little things like that. You wouldn't have been going to no pet shop with the marine life to get the squids to ink otherwise, would you have? No, you wouldn't. That's right. Synchronicity did that for you. And even I think you see where I'm getting at with this. That would be a pretty interesting day, wouldn't it? So yeah, get out there. Let the universe show you it's with you on your path. See, taste, touch, feel the magic. I'm hoping that for you if you get out there and try it. But even if you don't, worst case scenario, you got some steps in. That's right, a little bit of exercise. In any event, let's get on with the birthday read, shall we? Your month is November, your day is the 18th, your sign is 25 to 27 degrees Scorpio, and your period is Scorpio III specifically. Your quality and elements, is fixed water. Well, all right, November 18th, the day of temperament. The highly spirited individuals born on November 18th are usually extremely active in both mind and body. One of their chief characteristics is their emotional lability, although on the outside they can appear cool, calm, and collected when they wish to. In this respect, they are masters at self-control, and indeed must be, since the boiling cauldron within them is not what they wish to reveal to the world. In the best case scenario, they are capable of creatively channeling their strong emotional energies directly into their work. November 18 people are highly social and most happy when they are the center of attention. They are often ambitious and are perhaps cut out for leading roles in life. Their ambition generally manifests in the name of a social group with which they can come to represent or personify. Whether their talents are astonishing or modest, they prefer to reveal them on their own terms. Thus, November 18th people resist pressure to seek success before they feel ready. When in fact they are ready may be a matter they not only debate with others, but within themselves. Diligence is not often the strongest side of November 18th people, since they can accomplish more by intuition, sensitivity, and vision than many can through dutiful application or hours of effort. Also, their sensuous side is not as strongly developed as their varied and rich emotional side. They are the kind of people who invite interest and investigation. Usually the more one digs, the more one finds, as continuing surprises are provided by their inner chameleon-like twists and turns, and in this way they encourage people to become fascinated with them. November 18 people need attention and will not rest until they get it. And in this respect, they are needy and therefore manifest some degree of insecurity, but in fact may be able to justify the attention they demand by being interesting and productive. Their product may be tangible, but more often than not lies in the realm of entertainment, service, or simply manifesting positive energy. And in this last respect, November 18 people are highly sought after as friends and family members who bring sunshine and laughter into the lives of others. Charming, although admittedly selfish, tempestuous, moody, or unpredictable as well, it says in parentheticals, they give life to any event in which they take part. And since November 18 people are so adept at acting a part, they are sometimes accused of superficiality or irresponsibility. Such charges on closer examination generally prove unfair. Yet November 18 need for attention is so great that they must indeed beware of compromising their ideals when in search of it. All right, that's been the birthday breakdown for November 18th. Let's dive into some notes. I like to provide a little bit of a commentary, if you like, on what we just read. Maybe make some connections with other things I've read in the past, bring a little bit more context to things. But let's dive in, shall we? November 18, the day of temperament. All right. Highly spirited individuals, usually extremely active in mind and body, but emotional lability, a chief characteristic, or readily changeable, unstable, or fluctuating wildly, for those of you who didn't know that word like I didn't. But even on account of as much you are apparently a master at self-control, and able to appear cool, calm, and collected, despite being what the reading claims is a boiling cauldron within. That said channeling, said energy into your work sounds as though you are capable of turning what might be seen as a liability into an asset. Focused energy, a lot of folks don't have access to, I would argue, or aren't seemingly capable of taming, if you like. Couple that with an ambition said to make you great leaders, but diligence is said to be something that isn't so much of a strength. And that deficit so much of a strength, but I'm glad that they bring this up and explain that you compensate for that deficit by leaning in to your intuition, all right? Sensitivity as well as your vision. And you also are apparently very fascinating people, all right? But chiefly because, the way I read it, you're a bit of a mystery that people want to unravel, all right? So you kind of are the center of attention, aren't you, in that regard? Maybe you just don't really know it. And you apparently don't disappoint with what people uncover. So that's cool too. And it doesn't mention a squirting of ink in such examinations, so there's another positive. I wrote it. But then we move on to this need for attention as purported by the reading. All right, a manifestation of a degree of insecurity, it says, which I don't know if that's necessarily true or altogether fair, unless it's something that is uncontrollable, or if it's just a feeling. If it's just a feeling, it's a bit unfair. Everybody's got a little bit of insecurity, right? But they say that you can direct this in ways that are a net positive, all right? Say if directed into the realms of entertainment or service, you're directing that towards getting that attention that you desire. And you apparently are highly sought after as friends for your ability to bring life to the party. All right, that's cool. So there's many seeming negatives that were mentioned, but apparently in your hands they're transformed into strengths. So a very interesting day, to be sure. Almost an anomaly because of as much, quite honestly. A lot of these other folks that have some of the same weaknesses, if you like, they don't have a means to correct or transform into a positive a value add. So it said you had those things. That's good. All right. Hey, let's move on to your numbers. That's right. Your numbers and your planets, rather. A little bit more information there. All right. Those born on the 18th of the month are ruled by the number 9 as 1 plus 8. That's right, 8 equals 9. And by the planet Mars. All right, the combined influences of Mars and Pluto, the co-rulers of Scorpio, lend November 18 people powerful, attractive, and magnetic powers. And these energies must not be allowed to manifest in violence or disruptive behavior. The number 9 is an influential number and grants added power to the career efforts of November 18 people. Great responsibility is demanded of those born on this day, since their influence on others can be considerable. All right, there's your numbers and planets. Oftentimes, they didn't do this here, but oftentimes they'll say the number 9, and then they talk about how the math of it adds up, and that's why you're influential for other people. It's like any number added to 9 yields that number kind of thing. So, like, 9 plus 5, or 9 times 5 is 45, and 4 plus 5 equals 9, that kind of thing. They didn't do that here, so they highly personalize this one for you. And they've been doing that with the Scorpios, because the planet Pluto comes in, and it starts to do little shake-ups here and there. So let's see what I had to say about it. The number 9 and the planet Mars for dual Mars rulerships and influence from Pluto. Mars also a co-ruler Scorpio, if you didn't pick up on that. For powerfully attractive and magnetic powers, apparently, which must not be allowed to manifest in violent or disruptive behavior, or temperament, if you like. The theme of the day, the title of it. I would say all the negatives covered can be very volatile if not properly handled. And while I don't pick up on the Mars god of war kind of influences so much, anger and aggression are the hallmark words of that particular planet. I think it speaks to the volatility aspect of it they warn of. And like I said, they didn't really drill down on it, but they did kind of say to avoid such things. I could see how they could be behind at least, or could be blamed, if you like, for letting go of the reins of that mastery that they said that you need in order to control certain things. And with the number 9 said to be an influential number for your effects on others, I would agree that there's a little bit of responsibility to be had there. So don't let go of your ink, if you like, okay? It'll leave stains you can't remove, figurative and literal. At least I'm guessing. There's always advances in the technology of stain removal. Just every day there's new advances, it seems, going by commercials. That's been your numbers and planets. So let's move on to your tarot. That's right, your tarot card. One of the more eclectic of the New Age metaphysical ideologies. But hey, it's in the book. It's your birthday. We don't have to take it home and start dealing the cards out to influence our every whim and flight of fancy. So let's see what it has to say. All right, the 18th card, the major arcana, is the moon, which primarily represents the world of dreams, emotions, and the unconscious. Positive attributes include sensitivity, empathy, and emotional understanding. But the negative qualities include emotional malleability, passivity, and a lack of ego. All right, hey, what do I have to say here about your tarot? Pretty sparse tarot entry here, to be honest with you, and they didn't personalize it at all, unfortunately. But I did come away with a new understanding of something in here, even though I've read this many times before. So let's get into it. The moon, a once-in-a-month card for the world of dreams, emotions, and the unconscious. The positives of sensitivity, empathy, and emotional understanding, as we said there. Huge ideas and traits, all right? And an apt card in that, I would say, as it speaks to those traits already mentioned and almost informs the breakdown about a lot of it. As sparse as it was. Negatives of emotional malleability, passivity, and lack of ego. See, I've always been confused by the lack of ego. It seems to me like that's something we should strive for, right? The whole Buddhist mindset to get rid of the ego. But apparently it speaks to low self-esteem. I had to look it up. So coupled with the others, I'd say don't be a punching bag. All right, but lean into your strengths despite your insecurities. But don't let your insecurities get a hold of you either, because that might lead to that lack of ego, that low self-esteem, all right? So in doing so, let your insecurities shine, all right? Lean into them. And I would say at a certain point, they're bound to just start fading into the background. At a certain point, you might be like, oh, I need those things back. They were giving me a little bit of nervous energy that I was able to transform into something productive. You might just find those insecurities gone at a certain point. I don't know. Be sure to balance, because then when they come back, they might come back with a little bit of weight behind them, and then they might send you into a nervous wreck, kind of tailspin. Who's to say? That's getting a little out of control. I don't want to put ideas in your head, but I'm just warning you about it, all right? So balance. Balance being a watchword for the Scorpios this period. But they've gotten away from it here the past few days, so I might as well bring it back up for you, right? In any event, hey, that's been your tarot. Let's move on to your health. All right, your health. Those born on November 18th will have to manage their temperamental nature and emotional ability. All right, getting to know themselves well is vitally important so that they will not be at the mercy of their feelings or throw them around to the detriment of themselves and others. Consequently, some form of psychological or spiritual study is highly recommended. Regular patterns of moderate exercise are suggested as a means for building up discipline and willpower. And as far as diet is concerned, an emphasis on grains and fresh vegetables and a denial of cravings for sugar, caffeine, and alcohol can keep them on an even keel. Red meat should be eaten only in moderation. And if they can manage it, at least a half gallon of fresh, pure water should be drunk each day to aid their bodily cleansing processes. All right. They really drilled down on the diet today, didn't they? All right. Here, what I have to say about your health. Manage your instability as it says you're capable of doing. Okay? At least in the breakdown it did. And they emphasize it here in the health. And yes, get to know yourself. It helps when you're down and out, I would argue. Okay, what else here? Know both aspects exist and are in flux. All right. What else here? Preventing the blowouts by rallying and maintaining your ink retention. I wrote here again. Psychological training is often mentioned for the prior days, and a little bit, almost every Scorpio gets it, to the extent that they forego a mention of exercise and diet. They'll really drill down on the psychological thing because it can lead to physical ailments. You got your ulcerative colitis and the Crohn's disease and such, because the eliminatory organs and systems, I guess those are something that are a focus with Scorpios. I don't know how they figure that out, but that's apparently the focus there. And like I said, they'll avoid talking about exercise and diet just to hammer those points home. So maybe take note. But physical issues are said to manifest, as I mentioned. Regular moderate exercise for discipline and willpower are mentioned for you. And they gave you a Mars diet with the red meat and the grains and the hearty foods. I'm assuming that they say to stay away from the red meat and stuff because it I think they said it was a yang type food. It helps to maybe aggravate the Mars energy there. I'm guessing. It just seems to be the through line when those come up. Even I'd make a squid analogy here, but I think I've done enough of that already. So yeah, avoid your Mars foods. Get your psychological training in order if you need it, and prevent those physical ailments because they're said to hit the Scorpio folks pretty hard. But in any event, that's been your health. So let's turn to some advice. All right, as if that wasn't a bunch already. Here we go. Encounter yourself at a deep level. Go with the stream of life and feel your way. Watch for the signs, and don't doubt your intuitions, but be careful of your effect on others. All right. Hey, pretty valuable, I would say, even though it was a pretty quick, sparse entry. But I'm going to pick up the slack here a little bit for you. Try to interpret this. All right, here we got encounter yourself at a deep level. Hey, you got to figure yourself out, right? It goes for everybody. Now, the ins and the outs and how to adapt to those changes, too, I would argue. So you can rally when you're down and out, most importantly. But we also are always evolving, right? Sometimes things that bothered us a year ago, they aren't there anymore. But we need to figure out where that places us, what we're more apt to be doing because of that change. So it's a constant process. And I think it's recommended just about for everybody. What else was here? Go with the stream of life. I would say yes to some extent. And I say that because you also need to be able to fight the stream. At least that's what I would argue, all right? And maybe that lends to feeling your way, yeah? But it's about instinct too, I would argue, which it says you have and can lend to the signs or identifying as much. And keeping your eyes open, as we've kind of touched on with things. Our stuff can get in the way and blind us, right? And don't doubt, but carefully your effect. So that was the thing here. Don't doubt your intention to be careful your effect. That's right. You may have to ink someone, but be sure you're only inking them when you have to, okay? There's only so much ink that you got, so you got to use it you got to use it sparingly if you like. And you ink too many people, and they're apt to avoid you. They may be the wrong person to, give your admonishments to, or to, just treat like garbage, or however ink is realized in human terms. But also know that those things can blind you too. And what was the analogy I used that wasn't an ink analogy? Tracers work both ways. That's right. That's a military thing. So yeah, that's basically what I said about the advice. A little bit disjointed. I wrote it too small, so I wasn't making my points clear, but I think you did get the point. I said it clear enough. So that's been your advice. Let's move on to your meditation. All right, your meditation. This is just for you here. All of life may be a fantasy, so be comfortable in the part you pick and play it well. Oh, that's a good one. A little longer one than usual, but hey, I think it was good. So once more, all of life may be a fantasy, so be comfortable in the part you pick and play it well. All right, there's your meditation. It's your birthday, your meditation. I'm not going to throw some spin on it or try to interpret it for you. That's just for you. But that being said, your meditation in the can, as it were. Let's move on to your strengths and your weaknesses. That's right, your strengths and weaknesses. Let's hold up the objective mirror, see where we're strong, and see where we can improve. All right, your strengths. You're intuitive, you're emotional, and you're social. But your weaknesses, let's turn that objective mirror around to the side that blows up your face. We can see all the blemishes, all right? Okay, let's get to it. Your weaknesses, you ready? Can you guess them? You're needy, you're moody, and you're tempestuous. Oh, tempestuous. I forgot to look that one up. I'm not exactly sure what it means. I'll leave that for you. I'll put it in a description if you don't know, so that you know that I know now. All right. Once again, your strengths, intuitive, emotional, and social, and your weaknesses, needy, moody, and tempestuous. I would argue, outside of my not knowing what tempestuous means at the moment, that your strengths are going to help you surmount your weaknesses. And we've already drilled down on quite a bit of things that are going to help you with some of the weaknesses. So yeah, no need to worry. You can turn that mirror back around and look at your face normally. That's right. From the back end perspective there. Anyway, hey, that's your strengths and weaknesses. So let's move on to those born on this day. When we get into those born on this day, not only we get to see who shares your company, what lottery you drew with the other folks who were born on this day, but I like to examine something I find important, and that's figuring out our passions. See, a lot of times I get out in the world and meet folks and ask them what they do, and more often than not, they don't like what they're doing. And I think it's important that we figure out what we want to do in this life. So we're doing backflips out of bed to get into work. And it just makes life more fulfilling, right? I'd rather meet a bunch of happy people than a bunch of people who are down in the dumps, right? I think you're probably the same way, I'm assuming. But I think this is the perfect opportunity for us to see who not only shares your company, but what they did to get in the book. And maybe it wasn't their passion, but you know what? Maybe finding out these people, seeing what they did, maybe generate some interest in ourselves to maybe chase our own path. Carve out the time to put into work to figure that thing out, because that's what it takes a lot of times. It takes time to figure out your passions. So even, hey, if anything else, maybe me just saying as much puts the bug in your ear about it. So let's dive into it, shall we? Those born on this day. Be ready. I am going to mispronounce a lot of these. All right. Louis-Jacques Made Daguerre, perhaps. Who's to say? French painter, photographic inventor, and a daguerreotype of the daguerreotype process. We have Ignaz Jan Paderewski, a Polish pianist, patriot, and a president. We also have Wilma P. Mankiller, that's her name, Mankiller, principal chief of the Cherokee Nation of Oklahoma, and an activist. Well, that surname makes a little more sense now, doesn't it? All right. Alan Shepard, the U.S. astronaut, the first American in space. Dorothy Dix, a popular advice columnist, a suffragist, and lived to 90. We also have Amelita Galli Curci, Italian Curci, perhaps, Italian opera coloratura soprano. We also have Eugene Ormandy, a conductor of the Philadelphia Orchestra, Johnny Mercer, a lyricist singer. I tell you, there's a lot of musicians here, aren't there? Don Cherry, the jazz trumpeter. Carl Vinson, a U.S. congressman of Georgia, served 50 years and the longest ever, it says. We also have Warren Moon, a football quarterback, two-time AFC passing yardage leader, and a player of the year. We also have Imogene Coca, the TV comedian of Shows with Sid Caesar. We also have Gene Mach, baseball manager, and the ninth all-time in wins. We also have Jack Assassin Tatum, football defensive back. Kevin Nealon, the TV actor and stand-up comedian of Saturday Night Live fame. Brenda Vaccaro, TV and film actress. Linda Evans, TV actress of Dynasty fame. Howard Thurman, clergyman and the first African-American Boston University professor. We have Sir Alec Issagonis, a Turkish-British car designer and creator of Morris Minor and the Mini Motor. And that has been those born on this day. And I only recognized a couple of those, like Kevin Nealon and Alan Shepard, although I'm going to be on the lookout for a Wilma P. Mankiller. I'm going to go learn about her. That's an interesting name there. Any event, hey, might be a big ask tall order or a tall order big ask to figure out deriving some inspiration from that. But you know what? That was such an eclectic lineup of trades and individuals. Maybe your passions is something really eclectic too. But hey, once again, maybe just me mentioning it helps stir up the fires. Because, you know, like I said, we got to be enjoying this life and finding it tolerable at the very least. Am I right? So I hope that stirs up the fires for you. If anything on your birthday, I hope that for you. That's right. With that being said, that essentially rounds out your birthday reading. Except to say your season is fall, your sign is Scorpio of the Scorpio III period, and your quality and elements is fixed water. Now, what does that mean? That's a different video entirely, but I'll have that in the end cards for you if you're interested. But this has been November 18th, The Day of Temperament. That's right. From The Secret Language of Birthdays by Gary Goldschneider and Joost Elfers. I have an affiliate link in this down in the description for you. If you're interested in picking up a copy, save you the trouble of typing it in the browser there, and you'll be doing a little bit of support for the channel in the bargain, which I appreciate. But that's not altogether too important either. What's important here, like I said at the top, wishing you a happy birthday. That's right. Hey, hope you have a happy birthday. And for everyone else who joined us, I hope you enjoyed yourself, and we see you for your birthday reading. But that being said, lest I forget, your daily numbers, your 5 and your 3, 4 and 8. That's right. Get out there and let the universe show you it's with you on your path. And see, taste, touch, feel the magic. I'm sure once you get out there, and if you do get out there and you experience even just a little bit, you'll see why I recommended it. And you know what? I forgot a little something. All those names I butchered there earlier. Let's do some butchering on our side of things. That's right. Not done in malice. It's just hooked on phonics. Doesn't work for me with the French names, foreign names in general, but primarily the French and Greek. Soviet too there. Russian rather. But hey, like I said, happy birthday. All right. Take care of yourselves.